Hello and welcome back to another episode of Codependent. It's been a while. I'm your host, Mac, and I'm joined as always by my wife and lovely co-host, Alli.
Hi.
What?
Nothing. It's just been a while.
It has been a while. I feel like every time it's so typical. Like every time anybody does like some sort of a like hobby podcast, it's always like I feel like the joke of like, oh, but now really it's been a while, but like definitely we're gonna be better moving forward. And I feel like we kind of have already done that a little bit in previous episodes, but like I'm not gonna make any promises.
No.
It's
like every time I get a journal, I'm like, okay, really this time I'm gonna write in it, and then I write in it for like a week, and then.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes shit just gets busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And shit is busy.
Yes.
Yes. Too busy.
But that doesn't mean we haven't had time to watch shows and play video games, so.
Yes, that is definitely true. Just not that much time to sit down and record ourselves talking about them. But that's fine, because at least we've been doing them. And now we're just on the long sprint to get to the end of the year, and we're almost there. Only a month left. But we do have some topics to talk about today, because we have been, as I mentioned, we have been doing some stuff still. I've been playing a game with an embarrassing name that I'm looking forward to talking about. I've also been doing getting back to my old Black Ops Call of Duty grind. That's been a lot of fun. And you have some feelings about Silent Hill 2.
Yes, negative feelings.
Yes, negative feelings, but feelings nonetheless.
Yeah.
As long as you feel something, that's how you know a game is good. And then we really have been wanting to talk about The Penguin, because we have been watching and keeping up with that, and now it's over, I guess, as of last weekend, right? And so we'll do some maybe Penguin spoiling at the end of the show, so no worries.
We'll let you know before the spoilers.
No spoilers until the end, but definitely looking forward to talking about that. But first, we actually found at the store, so something a bit unorthodox, but we found at the store some Coca-Cola Zero Oreo flavor limited edition sodas.
It's just disgusting.
Which sounds disgusting. But I feel like we needed to try it, so I feel
also
like...
the fact that you bought two.
Well, I didn't want to... Yeah, I know. It's pretty ambitious.
You just poured it into 2 cups.
No, I wanted us to both, like, kind of, I feel like, suffer equally. Like, to get, like, a full experience. If we only had, like, one and we split it in half, I don't feel like that's enough,
I'm not going to drink the whole thing. I'm going to have one sip.
It might be good, though. What if it's good?
Okay, well, we're gonna...
I like Oreos and I like Coca-Cola.
This is really good content for an audio podcast.
It is.
But,
you just need to really express your flavor feelings. Here you go. ASMR. Oh, that's good. That's good quality content. All right, ready?
Oh, I'm scared.
All right, ready, go.
Are you going?
It doesn't smell like Oreos.
Oh, no.
No way, but that's good.
No, it's not.
Are you serious?
It literally tastes like the... Okay, so it tastes like...
It tastes like a vanilla Oreo. Or
like,
vanilla Coke.
No, it smells like Coca-Cola, and then you drink it, and it tastes like vanilla Coke, but I can literally taste the cookies.
Yeah,
it tastes like they melted down the cookie and put it in there. I don't like that.
Are you serious? I'm drinking this whole thing.
I don't
This
think
is
so.
good. This is wrong. It's wrong. Like, it is a crime against nature, but it actually is pretty good. Like, have we gone too far? I think so. But
I think, what if we just left it at Coca-Cola? Like, let's just leave it at the flavors that we have. It's the same thing for me, though, with Oreos, when they're like, now we have, like, crazy-ass whatever flavor. And I'm like, there was Sour Patch Kids.
That's what I was going to say. I saw Sour Patch Kids Oreos. I also feel like that's wrong, but I feel like I would try it.
I would not.
I would try it. I probably wouldn't like that one, though, but I think I would try it.
Or, like, strawberry shortcake.
Like pumpkin spice. Like, there's too many.
I'm like, just make a new cookie. Don't...
I feel like it's got to be a difficult
Oreos.
job working in, like, R&D at Oreo, where it's like, okay, we made the perfect cookie the first time.
Yeah.
And then what? You just have no job anymore. Like, now what do you do?
Well, they copied the
perfect
cookie.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, but, I guess then they did it. That's it. Then you never have to make another type of cookie again. Like, what do you do with your life?
Maybe the first one shouldn't have named their cookie to sound like a cleaning product.
What was the first cookie?
Oh, everyone's screaming in their heads at me right now.
The 4 people who listen to this, and then one of them who even knows what you're talking about.
It's
screaming into their mirror.
Original Oreo.
All right, dead air. Come on, Google faster.
Stop it. Hydrox.
It's called Hydrox?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, that's fucked.
Yeah, it's
they did
it's like
themselves.
a cleaning product.
Yeah, they did it to themselves.
Yeah,
they deserve it.
Then I don't know who Oreo was like, that cookie seems good, and then they like changed the recipe a little bit or whatever, and then they took over the market. But Hydrox was the OG.
Well, if they had Hydrox flavored Coke Zero, I'd be drinking that shit too right now. Are you kidding me? You're crazy. If
I'm
you don't
trying
like
to get
this.
in a little bit.
You're crazy. This shit's good. All right. Well, anyway, so 5 out of 5 stars for Oreo Coke Zero. That's my official review. That's my official review. It's
I'll give it a 3.
Objective. Well, when I'm not drinking,
are you trying to get sponsored?
I am actually Oreo or Coke, Coca-Cola. If you're listening to this, please sponsor me. I need money. And I need free soda or cookies. So please, any of the
if
three.
If we were getting free cookies, I'd be down.
I would accept any of the 3, honestly. But when we're not drinking ridiculous sodas, I have been doing some gaming lately. My sleep schedule is not thanking me for it because I have been staying up too late at night. But I have been playing a lot of 2 games. One, I mentioned a game with an embarrassing name. So I'm a big Persona fan, and the Persona team, I think they have a couple different teams, but like the main people who did Persona 5, which Persona 5 Royal is like one of my favorite games of all time, and they made a new game called Metaphor ReFantazio, which when I went to the store to buy at Elgiganten, because my PlayStation is a US account and you cannot change regions on PlayStation, so it's very difficult to buy digital games. So I buy all my PlayStation games on disc, which is very annoying. But I then went to the store, and at Elgiganten, they do not ever have the discs out. They like have no games on the shelf. Mm-hmm. So anytime you want to buy anything, you always have to ask them to get it from behind the counter. And it like, depending on the game you're buying, sometimes it's like, oh God, I don't have to ask for this fucking game. And this one was like, oh, hi, can I get I'm looking to buy a Metaphor. Because I was like, I'm not going to say ReFantazio to this fucking guy. I was like, can I buy a Metaphor? And he's like,
which game is that?
What is that? I'm like, oh, Metaphor for the PlayStation. He's like, oh, okay. And he's like trying to look it up. He's like,
I don't see
I don't see it. Like, I can't find it. I'm like, oh, it's Metaphor ReFantazio? And he's like, oh, okay. And then he looks it up, and then he's like trying to find it, and of course the guy's new, so then he can't find it, so he goes and like asks his, he says like, oh, I need my mommy to help me, whatever, which is a weird thing to say, but
about his male boss.
About his male like colleague or boss, whatever. So he gets them to come help him, and then find it, and then it's like.
Now, like 5 people know it's called. You're looking for Metaphor ReFantazio.
Can you help me find Metaphor ReFantazio, please? I'm just standing there like, oh my God. And then he comes over, and then he's new at the job, I think, so he's like small talking, right? Like he was like, oh, so what is this game, huh?
Yeah.
I was like, it's from the people who made like Persona, if you know what that is. He's like, oh, I've not heard of that. Is it pretty cool or what? I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, just give me the game.
Like, just shoot me. Give me the game so I can please leave. But other than the buying experience, the game itself is pretty amazing. I feel like these games are actually really hard for me to recommend because I feel like I've been talking to some people and like, oh, what do you think? I'm like, oh, it's like super amazing, but it's like, but you probably shouldn't play it. Like the people that I'm talking to sometimes, because it's the same thing with Persona. It's like that's probably like my second favorite game of all time at this point. But it's like there's so many people I'm not going to be like, okay, hey, play this game where you run around Japan as a Japanese high schooler with your cat friend and like. Oh, go bowling with your friend because it increases your stats for your next turn-based JRPG ass battle. It's like I know 80% of people aren't going to enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I can't help it but enjoy it. I do think though that this one, so it's set in instead of like modern Tokyo, it's set in more of a fantasy world, a refantasy as one would call it maybe. And the game has a lot of metaphors in it, if you can believe that. Where it's essentially talking about, or kind of this premise of like, okay, you are in this world, which is like this, core medieval-y type of world, but they're always kind of alluding to this world in this book that this guy has written that's basically talking about this like almost utopian society, which it always seems like is addressing the real world. So they're always talking about like, oh, they actually all vote together to come up to, their politics, and they, there is no racism and there is no this and that, which is certainly not true of our actual world, but in a utopian version of it, maybe. And essentially it's kind of trying to tie these, I don't know, kind of connections between like our actual world and the world of the game, and like what is fantasy, what is reality. It's like actually kind of an interesting premise, and then it has a lot of pretty actually like deep things to say, at least so far, like 30 hours in. You might be able to hear our laundry machine in the background, FYI. I think the washing is done, so that's good news. But yeah, it does go into like relatively or pretty deep topics, I think, which is nice about it. So I think for these types of games where it has this like very kind of cartoony and like silly look to it, but I do feel like they have some actual like kind of writing chops. So it's I think I was showing you a little bit that there's like a lot of different tribes. So it's like, okay, so it's very much about sort of like tribalism and like classism and like racism and sort of different like elite, classes.
So that one guy's like daughter was killed or something.
Yeah, so it's essentially like all of these different types of tribes, and how they kind of, I don't know, are racist towards each other, or which ones are like the highborn ones and the lowborn ones and so on. And then like the actual characters themselves all have like pretty deep and interesting backstories. There's a character that you meet where so far it's like all about like the death of his son. I won't spoil who it is, but all about like the death of his son, and how he's grieving about that, and what are like his traditions of like his tribe, and how you mourn the loss of somebody, or how like how they're supposed to be buried and so on. And then there's someone who you meet who was betrayed in the past, and then someone whose village was destroyed, and he's a noble and he's trying to help his former village to come back to prosperity and so on and so forth. And like it's actually super interesting. So I feel like but then there is still a lot of like kind of like levity and like comedy in different areas where it like can still be really funny, and then it can very like quickly swing between like, okay, now it's actually like really sad or really serious. So it's like in one of the previous towns, like the second town, I think it was like there was some the story that goes into some really like kind of sad and like interesting places, but then like kind of as you're traveling around between things, then it can kind of get like, okay, now it's a bunch of friends on a journey and like kind of goofing off and having fun. So far I'm like 30 hours in. I feel people have said that this game's like 80 or like 100 hours, so it's like it's gonna take forever. I don't even know if we'll finish it by the end of the year, but it has been super fun. I've really been enjoying it.
Well, you're cut short by 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna play it when we're gone. So.
No, exactly. So I think it'll probably be one I'll keep playing for a while. But it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. And I think then like as you then get into the actual dungeons and the combat, that's where it gets like really similar to Persona. It's it's turn-based combat. It's really stylish and really like it has like a weakness system where it's like, okay, you get into a battle with something and maybe you don't know what is it weak against. Is it like fire? Is it slash damage or like piercing damage, like with different types of weapons? Is it like magic or whatever, and what type of magic? And so it's a lot of different like tools to try to use, but it's pretty fast, I feel like, which is nice. And it it's pretty like dynamic, so you really kind of, I don't know, it gets super engaging. So I'm really enjoying it.
Nice.
I think the kind of one of the main things for this type of game that I think starts to make it a little bit hard to recommend for people, but I mean, if it sounds interesting for anybody who's listening, then definitely I would. So, it's a great game. It's certainly worth checking out if you're open-minded. But I think like it has that system that at first really stressed me out in Persona, but it has like a calendar system. So that's the big thing that this game does and Persona does, where it's like, okay, every game day is an actual day on the calendar.
Right.
And, you're always sort of progressing towards some objective. And it's interesting the way they do it, because I feel like most games, there's like not necessarily like actually that much like time,
Well, that's the thing that always stresses me out, is when they're like, quick, we have to go do this thing, and then you go wander off and check every fucking chest in the area, and I'm like, excuse you, they're gonna be gone, like we have to go now, and you're like, no we don't.
Yeah.
So I like that, because to me that makes sense.
Exactly, because I feel like a lot of games it's like, I feel like Batman, like Arkham Knight, or like some of these games that are like classically take place over the course of like literally like one day or one night.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, how much stuff have I possibly done in one night worth of this game? It doesn't make any sense. But this game is like, actually, okay, you say, okay, hey, we need to do this. There's this big thing that's going to happen. And this game is about like, okay, how can society choose the next, king, basically. And there's some very interesting way that the game goes about doing that in the first maybe 5 hours or so I won't spoil that still because it's quite cool. But that's then kind of how things get kicked off. But it's like, so there's going to be this event happening on August 13th. And it's like, okay, so we need to be there and do this main objective by then. So it's like, okay, so if I want to then spend my time, I have until August 13th. I have 2 weeks, let's say.
Okay.
It's like, okay, well, the objective is maybe a dungeon. And you can go through the dungeon maybe all in one day. But you need to do a really good job to make it all the way through in one day. Because maybe you might start to get, hurt or run out of these items or your magic meter or whatever. And so maybe you need to leave and come back. Or it's like, I want to go explore this side quest. But because you're traveling around to get between places, it's like, it will take you 2 days to get there. So it's like, okay, so then I need to plan out like, okay, so I want to go do that thing. So I got to go there for 2 days. Then I can come back. Or, then I have a morning or you have an afternoon and you have a night. And it's like during each time slot, you can always do something. So it's like you can hang out with one of your party members. You can go do some random activity that upgrades your skills or whatever. It's like you could do like laundry and it's like random ass shit that like upgrades your skills. But it's like a nice way actually of kind of putting everything you're doing actually on like some sort of a time schedule, which at first, like I said, really kind of stressed me out because it kind of made it feel like I needed to always be like min-maxing, where I'm like, okay, I need to be doing the perfect usage exactly of every minute of my gameplay. But then at a certain point, it like kind of doesn't really feel like it matters that much. Like you always kind of get there enough. It's like, okay, I get enough time with my, my teammates or my this thing and that thing to like progress enough. To where so far I've never like felt like I wasted time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's actually what makes it so unique. Is like a game normally that would be 100 hours long. It's like, okay, well, probably 50 hours of that was maybe like actual stuff moving things forward, and the other 50 was usually running around doing bullshit. And it kind of feels like it's a way that the game makes, even when you're doing random stuff, it's all kind of a part of the like moving the plot forward, because everything you do kind of moves time forward to get towards your objective, which is, I think, a super interesting way to make it work. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I will definitely keep playing it, and I think depending on how it goes, because so far, like where the story's been going, it's really, really fantastic, and I feel like it could end up somewhere at the top of my list for the year, for games of the year. So we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah. But definitely climbing its way up, I think.
And then the opposite game from that is the other game that you're playing. There's no backstory.
No, but I'm curious. First, I feel like we've been. I feel like a couple. I started this game and it's going to take me a while. I feel like we also started another game that's also going to take us a while together because it's November now, but we've just come out of spooky season. We've just come out of Spooktober.
Yeah.
And so we decided, well, maybe I guess I kind of decided that
it
would be fun to try another spooky game. But not without context. I mean, we've played some spooky games in the past, right?
Yeah, but nothing has ever come close to this. This is horrifying. I hate it.
And what is it?
No, not Alan Wake. Oh my god.
That was not as spooky.
Yeah, no.
Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2. I think it's the 2 that's confusing me because it was Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
But Silent Hill 2 is a horror fest. It's so bad. Like, I just hate when we play it. It's just like, I think because it's like one of those games that like, there's like not very much progression of the plot. We're just like running around and being assaulted by these whatever they are, these creatures or whatever. And it's just like so far, I don't know how many hours we've played, 8 maybe or something.
I don't know.
We can only play like max 2 hours at a time because it's too much. But I just think that like because we have found out literally nothing. Like we've done a few things like little, I don't know, not quests necessarily. Maybe one full little questy thing that like moves the plot along.
Main puzzles we need to solve.
Yeah, puzzles. Like we've moved that one thing along, but there's been no explanation of anything that's going on. We've met no other character. I mean, we met one character, but he said nothing.
Yeah, we met like 2 people for like 5 minutes each.
There's no furthering of the plot, and there's no question, no answers being given. So far, I'm just like, this is just running around being scared for 2 hours. And, like, so that's the thing I don't really like about it. Is, like, there's been no... It's not like, oh, when we find a clue, then we get, like, another piece to the puzzle of, like, the story. Or, like, oh, when this thing happened. It's just, like, literally we're just running around and being scared. And then we get onto another floor of the stupid building, and then we just get more scared. So it's just, like, awful.
We have to go deeper.
I don't want to.
We have to go deeper. We need to find out what's happening in Silent Hill.
It's so bad. It's so scary.
What do you think makes this so much scarier than some of the other games we've played, like Man of the Den, or like any of those types of...
All of those ones were more of a story, and this is more like... just go figure shit out yourself, or like just go wander around till you find something or run into something. And those, I think, had like bad guys or like a creature or two or something that you would like be running away from, or like be finding like one thing, whereas like all of the scary things in this, there's like a bajillion of them and you have to kill them all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that makes it like, yeah, there's not like a story or a plot that you're following, so it's just like you're just constantly being attacked by these things.
Yeah. I don't think you're crazy either, because I mean, I think compared, I mean, yeah, speaking of Alan Wake 2, I mean, that game was also pretty fucking scary.
Yeah.
In good ways. I think that game also was like cheap scary sometimes, because it had a lot of like
gimmicky,
like jump scares that would be like fuck, like every time it would come up. But I think this game is actually, like, for me, as the player, which is way worse, by the way, I do think this game is actually pretty fucking scary compared to even things we've played before. Like some Resident Evil stuff I've played, which can be pretty scary. All other than like Resident Evil 7, which I think is the scariest game I've ever played.
Yeah.
But I do feel like this is still pretty high up there because, like you said, I think it's just like there's just like such a...
Because there's no way for your brain to like follow anything or be like, oh, this is happening because of this. It's just like all scary.
Yeah.
And you don't know why, you don't know what they are, and like it's just scary.
I think this game just has like a sense of like of dread.
Yeah.
That you just kind of feel constantly. Like every time I'm doing something, I'm just like... Every time I'm walking around, every time I'm doing something, I'm just like...
Well, and also, like, you don't know why you're doing it.
I'm just like, I gotta go, I have to just explore, because I need to know what I need to do. Like, I need to know what to do next. Like, the game is about just, like, exploration.
Yeah.
Like, it is,
which I don't
so far, it's just about exploring where am I, and what is going on, how do I get on to the next thing. But that also means that, like, yeah, I'm just kind of exploring for the sake of finding things, and exploring for the sake of exploring. But it gets to the point where it's like, you know, we're walking around in, like, the apartments, right? Yeah. And at least, you know, we won't spoil anything, despite the fact that Silent Hill 2 is, like, you know, a million-year-old game originally, but I've never played it, so it's all new to me, so I also don't want to spoil it for everybody. But anyways, we're in some apartments, and it's, like, it gets to the point where it's getting, like, so scary, and, like, you know, the combat stuff is so kind of, like, I'm always getting fucked up all the time and attacked and whatever. Well, and I don't even want to open doors. It's like, anytime I walk up to a door and he bumps in, he goes, ooh. I'm like, thank God. That means I don't have to walk in that room.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to look at that room.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what's in the room. I just want to keep going. But anytime I walk up and he like opens the door, I'm like, fuck. Now I have to look in this room. Hopefully I can find some good stuff, or like I'm sure I'm going to get attacked. As opposed to other games where I feel like, you know, you find somewhere and you're like, oh, great. I can go in here. I can try to find some loot. I can find something. But I just feel like I know maybe I'll find a bullet or two. Maybe I'll find some health. But I also know that there's a threat that I'm going to get attacked in here, or something horrible is going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's like, it makes me so uncomfortable, but it's really, really good. I do like games that make me feel uncomfortable. Because it's nice, you know, it's a good one, a game that kind of makes you feel something, you know, like, just like, it just feels horrible.
Yeah.
But I can only play it, we can only play it for so long. It's like, a couple hours in, and it's like, I can't. I need to take a break.
I don't think we've ever been playing a game where you've been like, I'm done now.
Yeah, it's too stressful.
Whenever you say that, I'm like, good, I was done when we started playing.
Yeah, but we're gonna get there. I mean, I'm really enjoying it, and I've heard continually people have such good things in general about Silent Hill 2 already, like from the past, but also about this remake. And so I do, of course, we need to continue. We need to keep going deeper and further, which I will say, like, just the part that we just got to, like, that, you know, now going on to the next region, like, this next area is sucks so bad. It's so much worse. Also, it's like.
How do you know this? If you.
What we just did in the game.
Yeah,
we just went from like the apartments and then to another place afterwards, and it is so much worse.
Yeah.
And I'm so not looking forward to it, but maybe it'll be better. Maybe it'll get better. We just need to get like back outside or something. Like I don't like being in these like tight corridors.
Yeah.
It's like if we can get back outside, like into the fog or something, like that was fine, you know.
Yeah.
We had so much space to run around. It was like, oh, there's a creepy thing. I'll just run way over there. It's no big deal. Now I'm like, oh, I'm inside of a crowded hallway or in like a tiny bathroom.
Yeah.
And what can I do? There's nothing I can do.
Donkey Kong punch.
Yeah, exactly. Hit him with a wooden stick or whatever. Or like I did see at some point, you know, I think it was in the game. It showed somewhere like the weapons. It was like at some point, I might get like a shotgun or a rifle or something. I'm like, give me that. Give me a rocket launcher. All right.
Flamethrower.
Stupid wooden stick and a little tiny pistol is useless.
Awesome.
Yeah, give me a flamethrower, please. Or a machine gun.
Okay.
Give me some grenades.
Give you some of your guns from
exactly. All I need is an AIMS 65, I think it's called. Maybe an XM4. Give me with a gold camo, you know. Give me with an extended mag, a little hollow sight, a little foregrip, commando grip on the back, a little bump stock.
I only know
give me
4 of those words, and 2 of them were because you're miming them.
Yeah, exactly. Give me my perks as well. I need gung ho. I need some other one that I don't remember what it's called.
You're probably entertaining like one other person.
No, there's definitely so many people I'm entertaining right now, which is talking about the other game that I've been playing.
Bops. No.
Blops.
Blops.
Blops. But there are some bops. There are some bops in Blops. Because I would say a bop, like it's a good song. As a bop.
Yeah, you love the like.
Yeah, the intro, like the menu music. It's so good. It's like so like intense.
Not good.
It's really good. It's like really over the top intense. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, otherwise known as Blops, seemingly in the Call of Duty community.
By layman people?
No, by Call of Duty Black Ops fans, I think. Blops fans, as we call ourselves. But no, actually I have been having a lot of fun, which I would say is surprising to me. I feel like Call of Duty has such a reputation of like, oh my god, like the type of people who are like only Call of Duty people.
Yeah.
Because it's like literally every year Call of Duty is like the #1 sold video game every single year, which is crazy. But it's just because there's some people who just like play every single Call of Duty that ever comes out.
Yeah.
I have not played one since, I think actually Black Ops 4, which I didn't realize that I had even got. But
what is this one?
This is 6.
Oh, so it's not that long ago.
It's not that long ago, but they don't go like year to year. They like, so the way that Call of Duty is developed is pretty crazy.
I think we talked about this.
It's like a bunch of different studios that work on it, and they like kind of cycle off on different series.
Okay.
So there's like the Black Ops series, there's like the Modern Warfare series.
Right.
Then there's like other ones they've done like Infinite Warfare, Advanced Warfare. There was like World War II. They did one called Vanguard, which I think was like maybe in World War I. Then they just did Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, but I think that was like technically number 5. But it's like there's a bunch of different series, so they always like kind of rotate around. So I think Black Ops 4 was maybe it might have been like 2020.
I was like, I feel like it was when we were here you were playing.
Yeah, I think it might have been like 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
And then before that was like even longer, I think.
Crazy.
I think before that I hadn't even played since like Call of Duty Ghosts, which was like 2014 maybe, 2013, like a long time. But I used to be such a big Call of Duty fan, like back in high school. So I remember when Call of Duty Black Ops 1 came out. That was like my peak.
You're really dating yourself right now.
Yes. That was like my peak like online multiplayer gaming back then. It was like me and my buddies, we all went to the midnight release of Call of Duty back when those existed. We went to GameStop. We went and picked it up at GameStop at midnight and came home. And then we all got online and we played literally all night long, and then we went directly to school without sleeping, which is awesome. And
how old were you?
This is in high school, so I don't know, we were probably like 16 or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 15, 16. So we went there, we all came home, we played all night long, not like in our houses, but like online.
Yeah.
And then we just like went directly to school the next day. And we played, I used to play so much.
Where do you play online if you're not in your house?
Well, I mean, like we didn't like have them come over and like have a LAN party or
Yeah.
something, no. Also when those existed, right? Then we did do some LAN parties with Halo and stuff back in the day. That was also a lot of fun. But yeah, so that was like a peak experience. Then there's like Black Ops 2. Then I guess there was 3, and then 4, and then Cold War, and then this. But it's like I have been having so much fun getting back into that kind of like mode again, because I feel like it's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't really feel like I need to buy that. Maybe I'd have fun playing it, but I don't often play that much multiplayer. I'm usually like a single player gamer. But because it's on Xbox Game Pass this year, I was like, well, fuck yeah. Why would I not play it?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so I'll definitely give it a shot. Why not? And now that I'm playing it, it's like, oh my god, I forgot how fucking fun this is. And it's like I feel like it's pulling me right back into like the old school like kind of grind where it's like, okay, in Call of Duty, the classic grind is like, you get your grinding for like camos. So it's like, okay, you get headshots and it's like, every headshot, every number of headshots you start to unlock like different skins for your gun or different camos. And then you get to 100 and then you have a couple different challenges. Then you get the gold camo for your gun. And then you just do that on like, you're trying to do that on all the guns. And then it's like you get it on all the guns, and then you unlock new challenges, and you can get a diamond camo, and then you do all of the. So it's like there's all this like kind of, like there's such
gamification.
Yes, like there's so much like it's a game that like is the ultimate like dopamine hit, where it's like the game is so fast, which I was playing with Rasmus, and he was like, oh my god, it's like too fast and too like over and over and over again kind of vibe, because I think like people who typically play more like Counter-Strike or more like tactical games, they're not used to that.
Yeah.
Which is fair. I've always been like a Call of Duty guy or a Halo guy where it's like it's fast. You die, you respawn instantly, you go right back and you die again 10 seconds later. It's like there's like seconds between when you spawn and when you're shooting at somebody.
Right.
That's what I want. But it's like it's so much dopamine where it's like you're constantly like, okay, you spawn, you get some kills, you get some medals, like, oh, you got a double kill, you got this. And then the match is over and it's like, boom, 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 here's all the challenges. Oh, you unlock the next level. And oh, that level you get, these are the new things you unlock. And then, oh, you got, a number of headshots. And now you got this new skin or this, and your weapon leveled up. And now you get a new attachment. And it's like constant. But it's just like so engaging. It's just like, okay, I got to do one more. It just really like, there is like such an addictive nature, I think, to the way they designed it. But like in a good way, like not where it feels like shitty or like predatory, because there's also ways they can do that like for monetary purposes.
Yeah.
But I feel like just the actual, all the stuff that's in the game for free, just like good progression, it just really makes it feel like whenever you're playing anything, it's like I'm constantly unlocking new shit to do and new shit to play with. And it's so much fun. But I'm already like level 55 almost, which is max level. I'm at 54. And then you can prestige, which allows you to like, okay, now you get like a new icon next to your name. And you start at level 1 again, and you start all the way over, and you can do that like 10 times. And that's like also like a classic Call of Duty thing. So it's like they pulled me right back in. Like I've been sucked right back in. I'm in the full on like Call of Duty freak spiral. I needed somebody to match my freak in Call of Duty. Finally did it. But it's good, and we've done some a little bit of gaming online with Rasmus on that, and then I know some other friends at work who also are playing it as well. So might have to get in there, do some zombies, or some Warzone, which is like the battle royale. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you used to do some zombies back in the day, didn't you? Because I remember you talking about like the old zombies.
Yeah, like the.
Like the Nazi zombie.
Yeah, Nazi zombie. Yeah. I wasn't any good because you've seen me shoot and try to run and whatever with. I was just in charge of like, usually they would just put me at a window.
Yeah, like cover it with the boards.
Cover it with the boards and or shoot them, but just stand here. Because I was like, when they're like, we're going to the second level, I'd be like, I'll just stay here. Because there's just like no way that I can run and shoot. It's impossible.
Well, I wonder if this one has split screen, because that would be fun to try. Because I will say the zombies we did try a little bit. It is actually pretty fun. It's a cool map or whatever. It seems like it seems almost like a I don't know, kind of like Stranger Thingsy kind of like little small town kind of vibe map or whatever.
I mean, we could try.
But if it has it, that could be fun.
I'm end in you running around doing everything and me standing and boarding up the window.
I don't have high expectations, but we can still give it a shot anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been a good time, honestly.
Nice.
And you've also been we've been playing something else together that you've also been enjoying.
Yeah. Well, I've not been doing my homework of playing my game.
No, you have not been doing your homework.
But also, I'm not. I think I've talked about it before that I'm not like somebody who, when I'm stressed, like playing games stresses me out more. It doesn't really. I mean...
You just need the right kind of games, I feel like.
No, but I've tried so many times.
That are not stress-inducing.
The Spiritfarer is not stress-inducing at all.
Yeah, but I feel like you just got stuck in the fact that Spirit Fair, you didn't know what to do next.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, even that, like, when I'm stressed, I don't want to, like, come home and play that. Just, like, I want to sit and do nothing and make no decisions, because all I do all day is make decisions.
That's fair.
So I'm like, I want to make no decisions. I want to just chill.
Yeah.
So anyways, so I've been, like Max said, it's been really busy, like, just in life recently, like, just around, like, our place and also at work. So I just haven't really been playing games very much. But I don't know if we talked about what we're doing for Christmas in our before or not. But
I don't think so. It's been a while, I guess.
We're going to be on a very long flight, so I plan to play some games on there so that I can maybe talk more about them.
What do you have on your Switch that you want to play? So are you going to do more Bayonetta Origins? Or
yeah, Bayonetta Origins, and then also I have, I can't remember if it was Greece or the other one.
You do have Greece, I think.
Or Greece or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the other one, but I have one of them as like a, are you burping?
No, that's why I was off the camera or off the microphone. You're not supposed to bring it up then. Otherwise,
sounds like Oreos.
Otherwise, what's the point of me looking over to the side to do it? You just bring it up anyways.
I don't know. But I Bayonetta Origins, yeah, and then Gris, or I can't remember what the other one was that I was looking at, but I have those, one of them as a, like a, what's that, like a trial first level or something, so I can maybe try that too.
You should try it before we get on the plane, because then if you like it and we're on the plane, you will not be able to download it.
Right, but if I'm playing Bayonetta already, then it wouldn't matter. But
speaking of, there is I've been hearing people talk about a game called Neva, Neva, which is... when
am I going to play it?
Neva is by the people who made Greece, and I've heard it's very good.
Okay.
So, and also apparently very, like, similar beautiful art style or whatever.
Okay, I'll look into it.
But.
Yeah, I'll probably never play that because I won't get through any of my other games.
No.
I'll just start a bunch of games.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And then just never finish any of them.
Yeah.
And I'll just like do reviews of the first like 5 hours.
Yeah,
and then be like, I don't know how it ends, but the first 5 hours are really good.
Yeah. I will say that game I was telling you about that looks, it seems like the girlies are winning on this one, right? It's like the cozy girl game of the season. It looks like, called Infinity Nikki. I'm seeing all about it online.
Nikki.
And it is like it's like one of these games. It seems like it's a gacha, so it is a free to play game, I think, where it's like, okay, then you can spend money, but it's like it's a gacha game in that like, okay, you know, try to get like, certain outfits or whatever's, but like there's a chance that you can get like, the rare one or the non, but it's one of those types. But it's like a game where you are like I think you're like a stylist, and it's like being a stylist in this world is like a super whatever thing, and you're like basically just like creating like cute outfits. But it's like when you have outfits, apparently like certain outfits also give you like kind of powers, so you can like do certain things.
You think
like,
I would like this?
It just looks like it's a very cozy game.
Also,
and it's
games
like,
can't get me because I don't care about.
No, we don't have to spend money on it.
No, but I just mean like no game is a gacha game to me because they're like, you can buy this, and I'm like. Stop playing.
But no, it's just like but it's like a gacha machine, like a gachapon.
I thought you were saying a gacha like...
Not like I gotcha.
Yeah, I thought you
like
were
a
saying...
gachapon.
Oh,
because it's like, you want to unlock this thing, and you press it, and then it's like, I want this, and then you get like some chance of getting the high rare.
Like a blind box.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's like you're going to get a percentage chance of one of these things.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, I've been hearing a lot about it. It sounds like it's fun, and it's like a cozy, cute game.
Not very entertaining.
I want to dress up in cool outfits and run around the world and save people.
I want to try that one where you unpack stuff. That one seems really good. Because that seems very, like, serotonin. Serotonin?
Then is it going to go to sleep?
Oh, no, it's melatonin.
Serotonin
is good. No, I think
serotonin also like going to sleep? Or is that happy?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about like dopamine?
But I think it's also serotonin.
But what does serotonin do then?
I don't know. Anyway, dopamine inducing.
I need a doctor to call in right now, please. If you're a doctor, call my phone number.
This is not a live show.
Well, that's fine. When they hear this, they can call me.
Oh, okay.
And I'll edit it in post.
Got it. But dopamine for me of like, this goes in its place, and then like, that feels so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we have been playing We Love Katamari, which was a very
And we do love Katamari.
Yes, we do. Because it was a very fun thing for me. Like, my cousins, Michael and David, they're quite a bit older than me, and so when we would all hang out, it was kind of like, well, what are we gonna do? And so often it was running around outside or doing whatever, but then they were like, oh, we have like a PlayStation, like the first one or whatever. And I was like, what is this contraption? Because I didn't have any. Maybe I had a GameCube then, but and then we would play that, the first Katamari, and then we would play Destroy All Humans. And
Classic.
I would pick up cows and whip them around. And
really
with
like the tractor beam or whatever?
Yeah.
So
and then, of course, my parents like, what are you teaching our child?
Valuable lessons.
Yeah, but Katamari was always like...
very alien-coded, all of these games.
Yeah, but it was just like, to play it again now is like very... like brings me back or whatever, so...
Very nostalgic.
Yeah, very nostalgic, so that's fun. And they're like... The whole game is just super self-aware and like making all these like self-referential things, and it's very funny, but it's very entertaining. It's hard to do with two people, I will say.
It's actually so much harder with two people.
You have to like communicate a lot.
Yeah, I think it's just like
because you're like pushing against each other or something.
Yeah, it's so much more difficult with two people, because I feel like with the one, it's like so easy to just like sharply turn. Yeah. But with two people, you like to do the left to right turning is really difficult.
Yeah, I just have to like stop.
Rotating is really hard, but it's a lot of fun, and the self-referential nature of it is so funny. I was reading about the second game, and that apparently it was like the studio,
Well, because you said the guy didn't want to make it,
right?
didn't
want to make a new one, right? So it's like the studio really wanted him to make a new one,
right.
And he was like, ugh, I didn't really want to, I guess. So then they ended up doing it anyways. And I think that's why then in the second game, it's like, it kind of sounds like the whole game is just like kind of like doesn't give a shit
like
about
so
its
bitchy.
own self.
Yeah,
it's like just like kind of bitching all the time about the fact that it exists, and like like everybody's just like constantly talking about how they love the previous game and all of this. It's just so funny. But that it's just so like, I just love like the art is amazing, and the music is like so amazing as well. Like every time like the song that
I can
plays,
like hear the song in my head right now.
Exactly. Like every time the song that plays, like when you finish the level and he's like like that little like cheer thing at the end, like when he's like then putting it up to a star. It's
and then
so
he always
good.
says, "Oh, I can keep it. What should we do with it?"
Yeah,
like,
it's so good.
Also, that part though, this is the part that makes me feel like maybe I have a little bit of ADHD. Is whenever like.
Don't steal my thing.
It gets to that part, I'm like, like I already know what's gonna happen. Yeah. Skip this part.
It's so good though.
It's not.
It's so fun. Yeah, but that's such a good game. Yeah. And it's on Game Pass as well. So if you have Game Pass, it's a great game to play and a great co-op game.
And then another not so great co-op game when you're playing against Mac, because he's a sore winner and loser, is Mario Kart.
Learn how to drive better.
We got the DLC.
Don't want to be sore about it.
No, you're the sore winner and loser.
I know, but I'm saying if you want to feel better, then you can be a better driver. I'm trying to help you improve your skills.
Yikes.
By insulting
shitting on
you
me.
as I win. No, I'm always proud of you. Every time you come in second place, I'm giving you a high five. I'm like, hell yeah, nice work. I'm such a supporter.
You were getting pissy when I was in first.
That's because I'm competitive, but I'm always very supportive of you so long as you're not beating me.
Oh, God.
That's perfect.
Male, just like a male, just like encapsulated.
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything gendered about that, about me needing to constantly be superior. I can't imagine how that would possibly be connected to my gender and its relationship within society, anthropologically to yours.
True.
Oh.
But anyways, no, it's really fun. Like we got all these new maps on the DLC, and it's cool because like 2 of them are like real cities, and then 2 of them are just like goofy ones from other older games, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's really fun, and like it was really fun. As you guys know, we're like obsessed with Japan, and we were driving around in Tokyo, and then we also had one in Bangkok, and we were like, oh my gosh, like pointing out things as the, kind of when you start the race, it kind of like shows an overview of the map and then like goes to the starting line. And as it was doing that, we were like, the sky tree, like this thing, that shrine. It was so cool.
It's super cool. I
think we drove right past like literally where we were staying in Bangkok.
Yeah, like the like kind of monument with the big wing thing. We're like right around the corner from that.
It's so cool.
But I think I was finding that I think those maps that they have of like the cities, they're from Mario Kart Tour.
Okay.
Which was like a mobile app where you can actually. I think I only played that for like a week or 2, and I was like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Playing Mario Kart on my phone.
Yeah.
But I think they're all from. What? It's this Oreo Coke. This Oreo Coke. I don't know. It's like the burpiest soda, but I keep drinking. I can't stop. It's too good. But there's something going on. There's something going on in this Coke. I don't know, man. I really tried to play that one off.
The face that you made.
I really tried to play that one off. It's just hard. It's fighting me. The soda is fighting back. Okay. Okay. Anyways. I think those are from Mario Kart Tour. But it is really cool actually having like real cities where it's like, okay, this one was like in Athens, this one's in Bangkok, and this one was in Japan, this one's in like
I was making
London.
A joke that
it's like funny to be like, we're Mario and I'm like gonna drive through the Arc de Triomphe or something. Yeah.
Well, it was funny too because I was like, oh, Bangkok, we've been there. Oh, Tokyo, we've been there. And then I was like, oh, then the next time we go to a city that we haven't been to, like Sydney or something, we're gonna be like, oh, remember when we drove past that in Mario Kart?
Yeah, like, oh my god, that's like the monument from Mario Kart, not like the famous opera house or whatever. But like, oh my god, that's the thing from the Mario Kart level.
I feel like I've already been here.
Yeah, it's like I've already been there. Why even travel there now? Honestly,
can I fly over it with my squirrel hanger?
Yeah, exactly. Why even fly all the way to Sydney at this point? I've basically already been there.
Basically.
Yeah. But it's nice. It is nice. Like after having played. I feel like we've been playing Mario Kart for 8 years. Yeah. Mario Kart 8. Like, it's so good. Yeah. But we've been playing that for 8 years, and they've released no new Mario Kart, which is crazy. Yeah. Because actually, this Mario Kart technically came out on the Wii U, and then they just, like, redid it for the Switch, and did, like, a deluxe version and included all the stuff, and, like, updated some of the graphics, whatever. Yeah. But it's like, then we never technically actually got a new Mario Kart whole time of the Switch.
And, like, basically what they did is just remastered all these old maps.
Yeah, from different.
Sent them to us.
Yeah, from different, like the DS and the GameCube and whatever.
It's cool. I guess it's cool, and it's probably, I don't know, I obviously have no idea about how making video games and stuff, but maybe less work, I guess, because they don't have to come up with new concepts at least. Yeah. So. I imagine that, like, maybe what they would be doing is, I think also, like, this Mario Kart 8, I think it's, like, one of the highest selling games. It might even be, like, the highest selling games for the Switch. Yeah. And it has, like, an insanely high attachment rate where it's like if there's 1 million Switches out there, it's like 999,000 of them have Mario Kart 8 because if you have a Switch, why would you not? Yeah. But the fact that then they're like, all right, well, we didn't release a new Mario Kart this whole time, but I guess let's just release enough maps that is to keep people
basically the same number of maps that are in the original game they added as DLC.
That was crazy. Pretty cool because that's like
it's like literally doubled, which is crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I got it for free because I upped my Nintendo Switch Online subscription, and I got the expansion version, which also gives me access to N64. Oh. So we also have that now.
But like you were just asking me when you were saying like, oh, do you want to play Katamari? And I was like, yeah, I'll play. Like, I can't believe you're drinking more of this freaking soda. But
it's really good. I finished it though. Now it's done.
So you can't drink mine.
I'm gonna drink yours.
No, you can have
I'm gonna drink it after. Yeah.
But like I was saying when you were like, oh, do you want to play Katamari? And I was like, yeah, I'll play. And you were like, oh, I like want you to want to play. There are games, like I was saying, Sackboy, I was definitely like, oh, we should play that tonight kind of thing. But I think now the new Mario Kart, like already as we were talking about it, I was like, we should play some of that after this. Like these are the ones that like, I don't know what it is. Like it's not a particular, because this is like very different from Sackboy. But like that one specifically also, I'm like, ooh, we should play that.
For sure. I mean, that's just a sign, I think, of a game that you just really enjoy. I don't think there's much more to it than that.
No, I know, but it's not like, oh, I love these
feeling like you
games.
just really want to play it. Yeah. Like, I actually really want to play that. Yeah. So I think we just need to find more of those games where you're like, damn, I really want to play that.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't really found that with like my games, my single player games so much. Yeah. I am interested in my games. I just like it's not enough.
Yeah, I know. You need to kind of find like that, just crack that exact one.
I think it's the story that I want to know more about.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Would you do do you find it interesting, like games that are primary story, like Ace Attorney style, where it is like a visual novel, where it's not much gameplay, but it's all story?
Yeah.
Or is that then not engaging because then you're just reading?
No, I mean I am into that more. I think I still need to like walk around and do some stuff, maybe, which you do in Ace Attorney, but I really don't like the ones where it's like so much back and forth. Like Ace Attorney makes me so bored.
Oh my god, they're so good though. They're so funny.
I know, but it's just so much back. I liked it back in the day, but now, I mean, it's the same thing every single time.
Kind of, yeah. But like in it.
So like I played the first, I think 2 or whatever ones were on the DS. I played that.
Yeah.
But then like I don't want to just keep doing cases. That's why I'm not a lawyer.
That's fair. I think most people who play Ace Attorney aren't lawyers.
Yeah.
So
I was like, man, the people are crazy, and the jury doesn't notice when the bad guy dresses up like someone else.
No, they don't. But it doesn't seem like the jury is much involved in Ace Attorney. I don't know.
There's no jury.
So I guess I don't think they have a jury because the jury is in Japan.
The judge doesn't,
or
whoever is in charge, like whoever it is,
the judge,
they
it's
dress
stupid, like,
up
old
like
guy.
exactly.
It's like Santa Claus. He's an idiot.
And he's like eyes are always closed.
Yeah, it's a classic Ace Attorney trope. Is that the judge is an idiot. It's perfect.
Yeah. So, anyways.
But yeah, it's been that has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Playing Mario Kart, but we need to find you some. Before this trip, which we're going to Japan.
One more thing we need to do before we go to Japan.
We have too many things to do. But before our trip,
sure.
Let's try to. I want to try to find something that I feel like that you can really vibe with. I don't know what it's going to be, but I need to think. I gotta do some research. I feel like I gotta find something that can hit that perfect like. I mean, granted, we also have a fuck ton of games on the Switch right now. None of them, like Mario or like even some of the like Zelda.
I've played Mario. I've played Zelda.
You haven't played Breath of the Wild. You haven't played the new one. You haven't played the new one. You might like this new one. Echoes of Wisdom. You get to play as Zelda herself.
Okay.
Isn't that nice? You get to
For
play
once, moms everywhere will be correct.
Exactly. You get to play as a girl character. You get to play. You get to.
Oh my god!
I'm just saying, you get to see yourself represented. Isn't that nice?
As a long-haired woman in a dress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
it's just like me.
Exactly. Yeah. Fine. Whatever. I guess it doesn't work. Anyways, you can try it if you'd like to. I have been playing it. But this is Zelda, Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. The newest Zelda, and they have said it is like the newest, it's not like a spin-off or like, no, this is like straight up like the newest mainline Zelda game. And it's not bad.
They're like, no, really.
They're like, no, really, we promise, even though there's a whammon in it.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. I think for me, like, I'm enjoying it, but I'm not like, it hasn't so far, it hasn't like drawn me in to like really deep dive into it so far yet.
You're really selling me on.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think really like it.
I think it's just because also though I haven't been playing that much of it because I've been playing so much other stuff.
Blowing people up and or being a Japanese teenager.
Exactly. But I guess I'm more of an Elden teenager because, I'm from the Kingdom of Eldia or something. So that's different.
That sounds like a different show that we've watched.
Eldia?
Eldia.
I don't know. Probably. I'm sure there's some relation there. But yes, you're right. So I honestly, it's like I think if we had been traveling more or something and I had more time to be like, I'm going to play on my Switch. Then I would be playing more.
If only you didn't work a full-time job.
If only I didn't work a full-time job. But probably on the trip to Japan, I'll probably play that because I don't know what else I'll play on my Switch right now. But
yeah, and you don't want to get into anything too crazy because like you're not going to be playing every single night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't want to get into something that's like, oh, I love this so much, I want to play all the time. Then it's like, although we are going to be on trains a lot.
Exactly. So I do have a lot of gaming time ahead of me, but it's been good.
Yeah.
But it's not like so far I've not been like, oh my god, I'm so drawn, I got to keep going for more. But basically it's actually, I think, an interesting direction for them to go in the series. It's not like my favorite necessarily, because at least so far, it's like taking the pieces of Breath of the Wild, which is like, okay, or Tears of the Kingdom especially, which is like, hey, you can, do a bunch of crazy like crafting and, solve a puzzle with whatever random bullshit you'd like. Like there's always... Ever since Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom came out.
Well, because they can't take that away. No. Once they've given that to you, they can't be like, now you can't craft things.
Yeah, but it's like, back in the day, like in Zelda games, it was usually like, hey, you can solve this puzzle via using this item that we have given you. So we have designed how you can solve this puzzle in a specific way.
Right.
And then Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom were kind of like, hey, we give you a bunch of tools, and you just need to kind of solve these puzzles.
You use them how you will.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, there's always been all these clips people share on Twitter and Reddit or wherever about like, look how I totally broke the game with this weird ass way of how I solved this puzzle. But that's kind of the point. And then there's, the more traditional sense Zelda with the items and so on, and sometimes, even like the older versions where it's like, the kind of top-down version. And they kind of found a way to like blend that together. It's like, okay, let's create a world that's like a traditional top-down kind of 2D Zelda game. But then let's give you kind of some of the freedom of like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which I do think is cool. But sometimes it's like, sometimes I do miss maybe a little bit more of like...
the straightforwardness.
A little bit more of like a traditional Zelda game in that traditional sense, or like an open world, more modern Zelda game with all those other tools.
Right.
So it's just somewhere in the middle. So it's like it's giving me some things that I like and some things that I don't like as much, but it's still nice and interesting. But I have to play more of it, I think, to kind of keep feeling how I'm feeling. But basically the idea is like you can create echoes of things. So Zelda gets this like wand or this staff or whatever, and it's like you can go like, okay, boom, here's a mattress, and you like, take the essence of a mattress, and then it's like anywhere later on in the world, you can then place that mattress. You can also do the same thing with any enemies.
If you defeat an enemy, once?
You can do it. You have like a little bar or a meter, basically. So it's like certain things have a certain cost, and it's like, okay, I have 5 of these little pips, basically. Okay. And it's like a mattress costs 1.
Right.
So it's like I can put down 5 mattresses at a time.
Oh,
and then if I put down a 6th, the first one disappears.
Okay.
Or if you defeat an enemy, you can like take their essence and you can make that enemy, and then they'll fight for you. Oh. But maybe they cost 3. So I can put down 1. And then maybe I can put down 2 other things that only cost 1.
Right.
So it is really interesting. Like you can experiment with a lot of different things, which is kind of fun. But I think so far there is sometimes where it's like, sometimes I kind of just wish I could like swing a sword and be Link. Not because like he's Link, but just because like, okay, to fight an enemy I need to like place 2 other enemies, and then they just
fight?
Well, so she can kind of. She gets like a power. She gets Link's sword, and she gets like a.
Just be Sheik?
She gets like a power. I don't think Sheik exists in this universe.
I know.
But she gets a power where then you can kind of become Link, like a magic version of Link, for a little bit of time, and then you get like
a meter. Because she's like a woman, and she can't just swing a sword.
No, I don't know. I think they just wanted it to be different than, I guess, her just swinging a sword. They wanted to give her like a unique way of playing, which I think is like fun. Because like, okay, let's make her gameplay unique rather than just like we made a normal Zelda game, but you just play as Zelda, but it's otherwise exactly the same as it would be. So I like that they want to do something unique. But I also kind of feel like sometimes it's like, I don't know if it's working as much as if it was just kind of more of a little bit more traditional gameplay, but with some of these other like unique elements, because every Zelda game has kind of like a unique hey, in this game you can shrink in the Minish Cap, or hey, in Link Between Worlds you can like kind of go onto walls like, flat as art, or like all these little random things. But this one's like I don't know, like it I'm still enjoying it, I'm gonna keep playing it, but it's not like oh, I gotta keep playing, it's really hooking me like some other Zelda games do, or in general just some games really get their hooks in me. So I gotta give it some more time. But definitely thinking about if this is the game I want to do for the trip, or if there's anything else on the Switch coming out by the end of the year to get into. Because I don't really think there's too much more from Nintendo themselves, actually, because feels like they're kind of ramping down a little bit still on the Switch, since all rumors point to early next year for the next one. So I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah, be cool.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Been a long fucking time. By the time next year comes out, it'll have been it came out in 2017. So next year it'll be 8 years. Yeah, which is nuts. So it's been a long fucking time.
Yeah.
It's been a good time though. I mean, the Switch has been a great console. So crazy. But yeah, so lots of gaming going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, also I feel like, especially because we've been so stressed or so kind of busy, just like watching a lot of television.
Yeah.
And where they perfectly intersect. This is a good transition, right? Where they perfectly intersect between gaming and television. If I don't mention it,
Arcane.
Yeah, we just finished our rewatch, right?
Of season 1.
Season 1. What did you think coming back to season 1? After I don't know how long it's been. What's it been, like almost 3 years, probably?
Yeah. I thought. I mean, yeah, it's stupid good. Like, because I am a very morning person, I can only watch like. Also, because we've been so busy in the evenings, we've only been able to really watch like one episode of TV a night, basically. And so it's really hard for me to be like, okay, now I'm gonna go to bed. It's like, oh my god, I just want to watch every episode. but yeah, I thought it was really good. Like it's just we were talking about, like the art is just so incredible that like I feel like sometimes, we talked about this, like, I feel like sometimes I forget I'm watching a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, the expressions and the, like, obviously the style is so unique, it doesn't look like real people or anything. Like, you know it's a cartoon. But, like, the expressions and the, just all the little bits and pieces of humans that they get to be expressed through this type of animation is just, like, so insane.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel very often like... I feel like we watch a pretty good amount of anime in general, but I don't really feel like it's so often that it feels like the animation or the anime is, like, acted.
Yeah,
you know, like acted out. But it almost feels like you're watching
like they're doing motion capture
people
or something.
Acting.
Yeah.
Because, like, the way their faces emote and the way they move and, like, hold their face or do
and,
this
like,
or that.
Small
like
ticks or, like, small little things that they do. It's just, like, so insane.
Yeah, it's crazy, like, how natural the animation is. Despite the fact that it is, like, like you said, it's stylized. It's, like, you know, there's, like, a nature to it where people are, like, their proportions are different. And they look like characters from a game or from an anime. But the way they move and behave and speak and whatever, it really is, like, crazy how...
it's so nuts.
Yeah, how good it looks.
Yeah.
And I like, coming back to this, it's like, I really don't think that I've seen any anime or any animation that's been as good as that first season was. Even since that happened, even in the last years, I don't think I've seen anything that's kind of topped that. It's really insane. It's so good. But it was good. It's been nice going back to that first season because, like you mentioned, I did not remember a lot. No, it's been so long. I didn't remember much. I remembered, like, okay, at some point, spoilers for season 1. So please, if you haven't seen season 1, then be careful. But yeah, it's like I remembered that. Yeah, okay. Jinx goes bad, right? Like they have the whole. There's some accident or powder becomes Jinx, right?
Jinx, yeah.
There's like some accident that happens that kind of sets her off.
Well, you already said
they get separated and
spoilers, so you can go for it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying like there was an accident. I knew that I remember that there was some kind of thing that happened that set her off. Yeah. To where she ended up going a bit crazy and blah blah blah. But like how it all happens, I did not really remember, and then all the other stuff on the side with like. Jace and Victor,
dude,
like all of that.
I did not
remember at all. All the stuff with Victor and like the hex core.
Yeah, I did not remember any of that.
Like him getting kind of corrupted by that shit, and then it's like how bad it gets with Jinx and with I always forget his name. Silico. I don't remember. The crime boss. I can't remember what his name is now.
The dad.
Yeah. And then like Vander, I remember that like Vander died.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember exactly how. It's like so it's like seeing it all again, it's like, oh fuck, I forgot how good this all was.
I didn't remember how I thought it was way more accidental. I thought it was more like when Powder exploded the thing. I thought it was that she knocked the thing off. Like, I thought they were all going to die at the beginning. I forgot.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was way more accidental than her literally sending a bomb in.
Yeah.
And then literally killing 3 people.
Yeah.
Like, I totally forgot really that she really fucked up.
Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah, it's so sad, too. Like, it really is, like... Because she really does become crazy by the end.
Well, and she already clearly had, like, a mental illness.
Yeah, but it's really, like, sad to see it start. Because, like, she really is just, like, a kid who just, like, fucks up.
Well, and, like, her sister was going to come back. Like, she would not have actually left her. But then she got arrested and put in prison for, like, 10 years or something crazy.
Yeah, it's, like, such a sad, like, show of... Or, like, such a sad, like, circumstantial kind of...
Yeah, totally.
Everything goes completely to shit all because of, like, bad accidents and circumstances, right? Like... Yeah. She tries to help and then accidentally, fucking kills their friends.
And dad,
which is terrible.
basically.
And basically their dad. And then, she's outside and then, Vi tries to go help her. She gets mad, so she leaves. Then she turns on, she's gonna go help. Then she gets arrested.
Yeah.
And then, the boss, like the crime guy ends up happens to be there and then takes her in.
Yeah. And
then, like, by the end, it's like, he's a piece of shit. But then by the end, it's also like, but he also was kind of, like, he really did care for her. He's like, I never would have given you up to them, like, they could have burned everything down. He's like, I never would have. He's like, I never would have.
Yeah, but at the same time...
He never would have done it.
She feels more like a possession to me than he actually loves her.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's like...
I don't think he loves her.
I feel like It seemed like he did to me by the end. And I feel like then you had that moment where he's sitting there talking to the statue of Vander, just being like, you know, it's just like he's about to get everything he ever wanted, like the Kingdom of Zon to be independent, but he's talking about like how he can't feel like he's giving up his daughter. It's so difficult having a daughter. Like, it's like it's just like so rich and complex.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's so interesting and it's so ridiculously good because it's just like, you know, I love anime and I love how silly and whatever it can be, but it's like a lot of times, you know, like there's a style that they're going for. And it's, you know, based on like more, you know, obviously this is also a Western adaptation, right? So it's also very different with the types of, I feel like, the vibes it's going for.
Yeah.
But it is fun to be able to see, and I would love to see more like animation and more like anime like this, where they really are like, you know, this could be just a show that is like, this could be like a very well done, you know, kind of prestige television show with actual actors if they wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, it just gives that feeling of like, this is just really actually good ass television, but it's just animated. And I feel like it is an interesting kind of lane to also add in, where it's like, I feel like people typically have such an association with like animated shows, where it's like you have like, you know, Japanese anime, and then you have like typical more adult Western animation cartoons like Bob's Burgers, you know, like Family Guy, and like the comedy kind of stuff. But it's like there's not that much like actual like serious just good television, but it's just animated. Yeah. And this feels like a very good addition of that, to have that in there, where it's like, hey, this is just a show I feel like I could super recommend to people, where it's like, this show's just fucking great. Yeah. It's also just, you know, animated, it's based on a video game, but like it doesn't like give you any
you wouldn't have to know that.
No, there's no baggage to that. It's not like you have to have any idea about anything to do with video games or what this video game even is. Yeah. Because I've never even played it. Yeah. Or
it's just a world of its own, basically.
You don't have to like anime normally or anything animated. You could just watch this because it's fucking good. Yeah. And it's just really, really well done. So I agree. Yeah. That rewatching the first season was amazing.
It's so worth it.
We're just starting now the second season. Yeah. I think it's not all out yet, but gonna get deep into that. Yeah. So far, one episode in, already fucking
so
insanely good. But looking forward to more. Yeah. So yeah. If you haven't watched this, you wouldn't be listening to this. But spoilers over. Yeah. If you haven't watched Arcane, please watch Arcane. Who gives a shit if you've ever heard of or ever played League of Legends? You probably shouldn't play that, it sounds like, from everybody I've ever talked to who's played League of Legends. But definitely watch the show if you haven't. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Highly recommend. Haven't seen the full season 2, but those, like, I was talking about it at work, and people who have seen it, as far as it was by last Friday, they've all said so good. So
yeah, it's hard to imagine how you could even get better in the animation, but that's also what I've heard as well. Is like I've heard that the animation in season 2 is insane.
Even better somehow.
I think someone I follow, I heard them mention like, I think like some of the stuff that comes on later on in season 2, just like some of the scenes of how the stuff is animated, like some of the different fights or different things that are going on, are just like some of the best they've ever seen.
That's so cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But amazing.
Yeah.
We also watched, as we talked about at the top, The Penguin, which is another show we just finished.
Holy shit.
And holy shit, that show is crazy. We are definitely going to spoil that show. If you haven't watched The Penguin, please watch it. Don't listen to this next bit. So join us at the end if you'd like to. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and skip the rest of the episode. But yeah, watch The Penguin, please. And now, here come the spoilers. That ending was fucked.
Yeah. I don't think it was necessary, but
I feel like this is the big kind of, I don't know, like conversation we were having a little bit already before about the killing Vic, right?
It just made me I know you kind of explained like why you think it was like not necessary, but like why you think why they chose to do it or whatever. But to me, it was just like, it just seemed so, like, it just makes me, if they were like, oh, we're going to do another season, let's say, I know that's probably not really the plan, or, like, it might be more about a movie or whatever, but, like, if they were like, oh, we're going to do a second season, I'd be like, I don't fucking care now, because he was such a part of the show. And I know you can explain your side, but I was just like, I don't know. I just felt like, well, that fucking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like for me, I also found it like very shocking. Like I know we were both like really stunned watching that because like I had no expectation for that to happen at all. But I think that that's part of what like made it so good to me because like I feel like a show, like I almost can think about it like there's a certain, I feel like when a show really makes me kind of like, okay, now I actually kind of hate this character, or like now I actually like really kind of mad at this character because they really had a turn. And I feel like there's shows that can do that so well. I feel like Breaking Bad even was a good example of that, where it's like you're rooting for Walt for so long until at a certain point you really kind of realize like, you know what, actually like Walt is kind of like the bad guy. And it's like as much as I hate Skylar, you know, she's probably right actually at the part of the show.
No, you can never ever say that.
But it's like you really kind of start to realize like, you know what, actually the main character of the show is actually really not someone who I should be rooting for to succeed. But you can't help while you're watching the show to be like, well, I don't want them to get caught. You know, it's like I kind of want them to, I guess, to get away with it or to kind of come out on top. But then you're kind of like, but they kind of don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was the show really like, for so much of the show, like you realize that, Penguin, you know, obviously he's a villain, right?
Yeah.
But it's like he kind of almost gets this feeling of like, oh, you know, he's always kind of coming out on top. Or you know what, like these other people, they're kind of fucked up, but he's kind of getting one over on them. And maybe at the end of the day, you kind of see maybe he's got a little bit of like a heart of gold because he tells that story about how, you know, he wants to be remembered like that guy who was on his block. Everybody loved him. They threw a parade because he wants to be that kind of, you know, that kind of gangster where it's like people love him and people are making fun of him for that. Yeah. But that's what he wanted. But then so you kind of like get that feeling the whole show. But then like you start to get to the end and then it kind of starts to sour on you a little bit where you're like, okay, but then he like killed his, like he clearly has some weird shit with his mom.
Oh my God.
And he killed his brothers because he was basically jealous and just wanted to have his mom to himself.
Yeah.
When his brothers seemed like perfectly nice kids and like his mom even said like, I could have, you know, I had enough for all three of you. Like you didn't have to do that. Like I had enough love to give you all equally. But like clearly he didn't care and he was like, it seemed like almost to me, there was like that moment where when they were in the club, right, when he was a kid, which first of all that actor is amazing.
The
like,
little boy
like,
is so...
Ma, I'm gonna give you everything you deserve.
I know,
okay?
he's so
he was
cute.
He was so amazing. But she's like talking to him and he says something about like how he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, like he like said something about he was like sorry, like, oh, I really wish, you know, I wish they could be here with us.
He
and
said
blah,
like,
blah, blah.
I miss them too,
I miss them too,
and
Ma.
then he like turned and like smiled kind of.
Yeah, and it just like really gives you that like, ugh, like freaky,
like sociopath.
Like he's a sociopath. Like he clearly is like pretending to have feelings, right? Like he's clearly pretending to have feelings in front of his mom when he really knows that he killed them and doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean,
he was just
when
sitting
they
there
were...
watching the TV while they were dying. Like he didn't care.
Yeah.
So it's like that was where it started getting like, oh God, he's kind of actually a freak. Yeah. And then it like gets worse, and then his mom like has the stroke, and then he seems like he's even in a worse state of mind. And then when he like at the very end, then he's like, okay, then he kills Vic. Then it just really felt like, okay, the show really, I thought, did a great job, even though it made me feel like shit, but did a great job of like turning it around from like, okay, actually though, this guy's really bad. You should not have been probably rooting for him, and you definitely shouldn't now. And like the show almost like betraying me as a viewer of like, psych,
dummy,
you thought, but no, this guy's a piece of shit, and he just took the thing away from you that you thought that you got to keep, but you don't get to. And I was like, fuck that. You, it hurt.
Yeah,
but it
made me so sad.
But it made me really sad, and it really was like painful. But I feel like I can't think of that many shows where they really like, I don't know, it just really felt very bold, which I appreciate. I appreciate when a show is just like, nope.
Yeah.
We're not going to give you what you want. Fuck you.
Yeah.
This is what happens. And it's like, oh my God, that feels horrible.
Yeah.
But then it just leaves you with like such a like, oh my God, like a feeling in your gut, like in your chest. Like, God, that show is... Because then it...
Can't wait for Edward Cullen to kick his ass in the movie.
Edward Cullen? Who's Edward Cullen?
That's, what's his name? The Batman's character in...
Is that the Twilight Vampire? Is it Edward Cullen? Oh my God, yeah. Oh, they should bring in Taylor Lautner as well. Maybe he could be Robin. Oh my God, that'd be...
Call the studio.
That'd be so good. I'm calling James Gunn right now. I'm like, James, please. The people need this.
Do it for us.
They need this.
Oh my God. good.
But yeah, then I feel like the last scene of the season was like him dancing with the prostitute who was dressed like his mom. Yeah. That was like truly like, okay. Yeah. He's really a freak.
Because
I thought it was just like he loved his mom. I was like, no, he wants to fuck his mom.
Yeah,
he
loved
his mom. Yeah. Like, oh no, that's like,
that was gross.
You can really love your mom, and there were even moments where I feel like you were like, I feel like they have a weird relationship.
Yeah, and you were like, she's a mom. And
I was like, he just loves his mom. You know, he clearly had a hard life, and his mom probably took care of him, so he just really loves her and appreciates her. And I guess you were right, because then at the end when she's like dancing, he's like, say you're proud of me. Yeah. She's like, I'm so proud of you, my baby boy. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, no, he's a freak. Yeah, he's certified. Yeah. Oedipus complex situation.
Yeah.
Oh God, and he was like, oh Ma, he's like, oh Ma, I got you what you always wanted.
Yeah.
Are you so happy or whatever? And she's like
crying,
like immobile vegetable, crying, looking out the window. It's like, oh my God, it's horrible.
I was like, what is that room? Like, he has so much. I mean, he doesn't have so much stuff. The rest of the house obviously was in like shambles because it was like, it was so weird. But because obviously he like pretends that he's living this nice lifestyle or whatever, but he's like kind of a slob. And then her room was like empty. There was like one.
What does she need? She's not getting out of the bed.
I know, but like, wouldn't you try to make it at least screen? Like, no, but like, I don't know. It just felt weird that there was like one side table.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's just moving
and like
in,
a lamp.
Yeah.
I was like,
maybe he's still moving in. You know,
put something else in there.
Just have the designer come by. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
What did you think about the other key element of the show, Miss Sofia Falcone or Sofia Gigante?
Well, I think that was one element that. Well, first of all, I found my new haircut once I grow my hair out. I want that haircut. It's called a wolf cut. Apparently.
A wolf cut? Okay. Wolf. She was slaying in that show, to be honest.
I mean, I feel like the more the season went on, though, the more her outfits got, like, really terrible. I was like, what is this, Emily in Paris? Ugh,
I thought they were kind of fire, though. Like, she was
so
eating.
Weird.
I finally get Ted Mosby. Maybe he was right.
I thought that I really liked her character. I think the only part that I was like a little annoyed about was like the back and forth where it's like, she got one over on Penguin, then he got one over on her, and then and I was like, oh my God, like, we get it. They're rivals. And then they're working together, but then he was faking it. It's like, oh my God. So that part I just felt was like a little too much back and forth for me, because you know how we talked about like, so much happens in each episode, which was awesome.
Crazy amount, yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, oh my God, they just like pulled one over on each other 3 times in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna meet, but no, I'm not there. Wait, but you're not here. It's like, oh my God, I don't know. So that part was a little, but I think one of my favorite parts was the mom when she was like, oh, you're a gigante now? Like, okay. And she's like being like, yeah, you think you changed so much, but you're just doing the same fucking shit again. And I was like, preach, Mom.
Yeah.
Ma.
The mom character.
Tell the Goyls.
The Goyls, yeah. The mom character was really good.
She was so good.
She was awesome.
But yeah, no, I thought she was a really, really great character. I hope she continues to do something in the future ones.
Yeah, I'm curious. Because she
whatever is the future
ended up in Arkham, right? So
yeah, but then she got like a letter from her sister, who's her half sister, who's Selena Kyle.
Yeah, I wonder if that was like just like, hey, let's throw in a little reference to the greater universe.
I saw a clickbait thing that was like, the letter from Selena Kyle doesn't mean what you think it does. I didn't click it because I was like, this is stupid.
I was like, what the fuck do you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever wrote that article,
I was just
probably
like,
nothing.
Yeah, but I was just like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like an actual tease for something, or if it's just like... They promised
that they would put Selena Kyle's name in, and right at the end they're like, oh, fuck!
Yeah, it's like, there's that, and then there was like, in the last second, it's like the Batman spotlight goes into so it's like, okay, don't forget, this is connected to a greater universe.
Yeah, leave that open just in case we want to use that later.
Yeah, exactly, but it's like, not connected otherwise. I do think it's funny, like, one thing that I feel like I was seeing memes from online is like, obviously the Batman is not in the show, right? But I feel like I was seeing memes from people like, all of this is happening and like, he just never shows up, like he's just on holiday or something, where it's like there's all sorts of like crazy drug busts and deals and explosions and whatever wild shit.
And they never reference...
Like the whole city like fell in like Crown Point or whatever, and like he's just I don't know, busy, hanging out.
It's like in Deadpool when he's like, oh, it seems like you couldn't get any of the high budget characters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like we don't have enough budget for all of the X-Men.
Yeah,
why is the house always empty?
Never talk about him.
Yeah. Yeah, they never talk about the Batman. I think it's interesting. I appreciate
reference even if they
did we gotta do this before the Bat shows up,
right? Or or just even not even the Bat, or just oh, what if he comes and then he's like, don't talk about it, or something. You know what I mean? Something, but it's just doesn't exist.
Yeah,
for
it's
this
interesting.
One section.
Yeah, it's interesting. I appreciate that the show then stands totally on its own feet, but it is interesting that they basically kind of fully ignore that element of it. But that's also, I think, one thing that makes this similar to Arcane being you don't need to have any context about gaming or anime.
That's true.
I think it's also one thing that makes this such a good show. It's hey, you don't need to really actually... You can
any
ignore the
Batman
fact that it even has anything to do with Batman. You can completely ignore that and just be this is a very good crime drama.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to do with Batman necessarily. You don't have to know about the Penguin or about this or that. It's just straight up good crime drama, which I think actually makes it unique.
Yeah.
So I don't know what their next plans are with this universe. I think that Matt Reeves, who's the guy who did the Batman, and he also did the previous trilogy of the Planet of the Apes trilogy, not the newest one, but the previous three. And then he also did the show now. But I heard that he has done, or there's some maybe TV show kind of universe that they're creating, or that he wants to create with maybe some other villains or some other things.
Try to marvel us.
But honestly, if they do it like this, I'm happy with that. So I don't know what's next. I think Colin Farrell had said he's maybe going to be in Batman 2, but he can't confirm or blah blah blah. But at least he's supposed to be something in there. I don't know if then what's going to happen with if there's going to be a season 2 of the show, or if they would do hey, we'll just do a different villain or something.
Yeah.
But I'm super, whatever they decide to do, I'm super into, because I really loved the Batman. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
And this now also really good.
I love how we watch the Batman to prepare.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with it.
It's just the only thing that's connected basically is literally the fact that Riddler did the flooded the city, or whatever. And that's the only connection at all. But it's not. It's it is a sequel series,
I know, but
technically.
It's just so funny. We were oh, we should watch it just so that we know what's going on, and then it was oh,
completely not really connected, or not you don't need to have done that. No.
Yeah. It was just funny.
But yeah, so I'm curious, because I'm happy to see what more they might do. Because I think DC has had such a weird go of it, where it's okay,
they have not done very well for themselves.
They had all the Zack Snyder stuff, which some people liked, some people didn't. Then it all died, it all fell apart. His Superman and his Batman and Justice League and all that. Then there was Aquaman and.
But I mean,
who cared about that? And then
imagine it's
Black
I always
Adam.
think of DC.
So much garbage.
It's I always think of DC and Marvel as brothers, or these two siblings, and it's Marvel's fucking killing it.
Yeah, it's
and
they're
DC
brothers,
just keeps trying, and it's just oh fuck, that one was a stinker too.
They're brothers, but one brother has his shoelaces perpetually tied together as they try to walk together. It's crazy. And it's Marvel has also had their fair share of kind of flops every now and then, but it's when a Marvel thing flops, you're oh, that's a bummer. That thing was kind of
the next thing.
That one wasn't that great.
Yeah.
But it's the opposite. DC, you're surprised when there's something good. You're oh my god, the Batman was really fucking good. Oh my god, this TV show was really good.
Yeah. So maybe they're on an upswing.
Maybe they're
maybe they can continue. Maybe they can figure out the formula of these ones that they've been doing well.
Yeah. They also then simultaneously just released the Joker 2, which also is apparently dog shit. So you know what I mean? It's it's all over the place.
Well, maybe they shouldn't do musicals.
Maybe not. Nobody should do musicals. I think that's the solution.
Yeah. Easy.
No musicals, please.
Only high school musicals.
Please, not those either. But yeah, so we'll see. I know they have a bunch of shit coming. Yeah. Because I know James Gunn, who has done great work in Marvel, and now he's come over and he's leading. He's their creative. He's basically their Kevin Feige or whatever, who's the guy who creative directs all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay. He's that for DC now, and he's talented. He's great, but I think there's a new Superman coming, and that's the start of a lot of the new stuff. Okay. And then the Batman and all of this is some separate universe that they're keeping on its own, But now they're basically fully rebuilding like the actual DC universe with this Superman and a bunch of other stuff to come in the future.
Okay.
But I'm curious because I'm a sucker for
Henry Cavill gonna be
stupid ass
Superman
comic movies.
Again?
No, Henry Cavill is not going to be Superman. We lost him among everything. He's not Superman anymore, which he was a great Superman. He's not Geralt anymore, which he was a great Geralt. And I think
when are we supposed to see him with his shirt off?
I don't know.
We need another.
We saw him
in nerdy thing to come out.
He was a slight Easter egg spoiler for Daredevil and Logan. Jump 30 seconds if you want. You don't need to write this one down.
Oh, okay.
He was a Wolverine. We got to see him as a really buff Wolverine.
Yeah, we did.
That was cool. But yeah, I don't know when we're going to see Henry Cavill again. I think that he's apparently going to be in a Warhammer show.
That tracks.
He's a big Warhammer nerd,
yeah,
and I heard
tracks.
that he was going to help produce a Warhammer maybe TV show.
He should produce things
for Amazon.
because then he can do it the way that he wants to do it and not get pissy and annoyed with people reading it.
So I heard he was going to, I think, help produce that, and then I guess I would assume star in it would make sense, but I don't know.
Well, before we go down too long of this rabbit hole of us just guessing at TV shows in the future, one last guessing is if we're still doing this in 2026.
If we're still doing this in 2026? Okay.
Not this same podcast episode.
That's a really long episode.
If we're still podcasting, I would like to either hijack our podcast or do a separate episode every week of the new Harry Potter show.
Is that coming in 2026?
A recap. Supposedly. I would like to do recaps of each episode because I am a Harry Potter nerd and I would like to recap.
Wow, okay. It's been signed up for a weekly Harry Podcaster. Harry Podcast? Harry Podcast? Harry Potter, like with two D's?
Yeah. Cast?
Harry Potter Cast? I can't speak.
But yeah.
Okay.
But we'll see. Yeah. If we're still doing this. Or maybe we'll
by
be
then
like...
we'll be rich and famous, I'm assuming.
Yeah. But I think it'll be fun.
We'll be sponsored by WB, I assume.
And Oreo Coca-Cola.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think
we'll make sure that no money goes to J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool to do like breakdowns because I've never been able to do breakdowns in live or like in the moment of it happening because obviously we've never done a podcast before, but also so many of the things that I really like are nostalgic things. So I think it would be something very cool to do to break down the episodes.
All right, well, that sounds good to me. Then we'll see our listeners in 2026 with our take on Harry Potter.
That'll be the time we come back. We're like,
exactly.
Whoa, it's been a minute.
Yeah, exactly. At our current pace, the next episode will be in 2026.
I like how we're like, we back, and then it's gonna be Christmas. So we're gonna be gone for 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. We're probably not gonna have one before the end of the year, so.
Yeah, we are.
We will?
Oh, next weekend we'll do one. We'll do one hungover.
Okay, we'll do another one before the end of the year probably, and then we'll come back in January after that because then we're going to Japan. Yeah. Very excited. Going back again.
We'll podcast live in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. We'll podcast from the Shinkansen. Yeah.
Everyone will be so annoyed.
I think so, yeah. Definitely don't talk on a train in Japan.
No.
Don't talk on a train anywhere, actually, in my opinion.
Talk on a train.
Talk not on the phone.
Don't care. You can talk on the phone. I don't give a shit. Don't talk on the phone on speakerphone.
It's so annoying.
Who in the fucking world doesn't have headphones? I'll buy you. I'm gonna start just carrying around headphones and handing them out like my fucking flight attendant.
Be like, you little bitch. Honestly, you know what? Like, great job for them for helping families stay connected across the globe.
Yeah.
But I will never forgive Apple for what FaceTime has done to public transportation and to the world of public spaces. Because people just stopped having phone calls now. It's like, do you every time you talk to somebody need to do a video chat?
But
is that necessary?
Again, it doesn't matter to me if they have headphones in.
Yeah, exactly. But I just feel like people that are always yelling like, "Oh my god!" Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, can you just like put your phone up to your ear and talk to someone on the phone like a person instead of constantly having to do the video chat? Yeah. Especially worse, of course, when there is no headphones. People just like doing that on speaker. I'm like, why is that necessary?
Yeah, like the guy behind
me. Is that the optimal way to have a conversation with somebody? I don't really think so.
No, and one time I was literally sitting
Why do we all have to be a part of your conversation?
One time I was literally sitting next to a woman and she kept saying what every 10 seconds. And I was like, hey, guess what? Either put headphones in or put the fucking phone up to your ear.
Yeah, I bet you could hear better if you had it in your ear instead of blasting out here for all of us to hear on a loud public train. It's terrible. Yeah. I'm going to write a letter.
To who?
Somebody. Apple.
Head of FaceTime.
To Tim Cook. I'm going to say, Tim, we got to talk about FaceTime. Yeah, Tim, we got to talk about FaceTime. Timothy, you fucked up, bud.
Timothy Cookington, you listen here.
Sir Timothy Cooking. You thought you cooked on this one? You didn't. The food is cold.
Oh my God.
Uncooked. Yikes.
Gordon Ramsay him.
I'm gonna do the idiot sandwich thing today. I'll put 2 phones on either side and say, what are you? You're an asshole phone sandwich. I don't know. All right.
My favorite one still is, the squid is so raw, I can still hear it telling SpongeBob to fuck off. It's the best. All right. Incredible. Well, on that note,
time for us to fuck off. Just like Squidward. Or SpongeBob.
Okay.
So that's the end of the episode. Thank you for listening.
You made it this far.
Thank you for your patience as well with us for listening, but also in between episodes. We'll see you again in some other amount of time, and we hope you choose to listen then again.
Yeah. See ya.
See you.